To artists like Edward Hopper and films like A Perfect Storm, Gloucester is known today as a hardscrabble fishing town with a quintessential New England look. But it also has a lesser-known but equally great literary tradition as the boyhood summer home of T.S. Eliot, one of the great poets of the 20th century. Edgar B. Herwick III from WGBH's Curiosity Desk recently took a trip up to Gloucester to learn more, and he joins me now.
Yep.
So he grew up in St. Louis. How did the family come to summer in Massachusetts?
You know, I didn't even realize any of this, but he has all kinds of Massachusetts connections. Both sides of his family, his parents, came from like Boston stock. And he went to Harvard, and he summered here. The family built a summer home in Gloucester when he was about 5 years old in 1896. And he spent every summer here until he was about 23, 24. So about 20-some years, he was summering every summer in Gloucester with his family. Mm-hmm. You know, the house is still there in Gloucester, just as it was built. And I went up and checked it out. So let's have a look at the house here. That's what it looked like way back. Watercolor painting there, and there it is today. It looks very much the same. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful space. And you see these rocks in front of it. The house is built between these two rock outcroppings. So there's one in the front here, and then there's one along the back here as well, which is really beautiful. And there's this unbelievable porch right here you can see. Really wide, beautiful views. And there's T.S. Eliot as about a 6-year-old child on that very porch.
Okay, so I know you're not going to disappoint me. What does it look like inside?
Yes, Emily, of course I went inside. It's actually, as it turns out, for sale right now. Yeah. So it's on the market, so I was able to go in and tour it. So let's have a look at what it looks like inside, which is a beautiful home. Big, wide open space when you walk in. Beautiful fireplaces. There's 4 fireplaces. To the left is a living room. Straight ahead, there's the dining room. There's stairs along the right here that go upstairs. And this is the living room as it looked when the Eliots owned it. And you can see it's very, very beautiful. And there it is today, looking very much the same. Now, his father made his fortune in the brick-making business. And so these fireplaces, the people were telling me that they've never seen fireplaces like this, very unique brick fireplaces.
And they painted them white.
They did, yeah. So this is the kitchen, which is also really interesting. Right where that table is used to be where they actually did the wash. And these are original countertops, original cabinets. It's original shelving.
Beautiful.
There's a ton of really restored original stuff throughout the house.
So who owns it now? They must have taken good care of it.
They did, and in fact, they did a bunch of restorations. So the woman who owns it now, Dana Hawkes is her name. Her and her husband bought it about 15 years ago. And you know, when they first bought it, you know, they had to do a lot of restoration. Many owners had owned it through the years, and so they did a lot of work restoring it. And they moved in because they were looking for space for her husband's book collection, which is really interesting, right? Like, so it carried on this literary tradition. And in fact, her husband wasn't sure that he wanted to buy the house. She knew immediately, right? She's like, we're definitely buying this house. And he was like, well, I'm on the fence. Then they found out T.S. Eliot had owned it, and he was like, well, we'll definitely do it. And of course, when I spoke with her, I had to ask her if T.S. Eliot's presence was still in the house. So here's what she said.
My husband used to claim that he used to see T.S. Eliot's ghost or hear his ghost. He said, maybe this will inspire me to write a novel, because when my husband, before he passed away, was working on a novel, he felt that there was some spiritual entity here within the house.
Wow. So is it known around town? Is it the Eliot house?
No, it's not. And when I spoke with Dana, she was explaining that for the most part, when she tells people around town, you know, I'm, you know, in T.S. Eliot's old summer home. They're like, well, where is that? Like, I have no idea that it's there. Interestingly, like right after, there are some people who know, right? Like right after she moved in, about 2 weeks after they bought the house, they hadn't even brought furniture in. She tells this story. She gets a call from the T.S. Eliot Society, and they were like, you know, we want to hold an event there in his old summer home. And she was like, well, there's no furniture here or anything yet. And they're like, that's perfect. So she said this big busload of about 100 people from all over the world descend on the house, and they came in. Yeah, and she said it was a really kind of fun event. And she said she does get the occasional knock at the door, but almost always it is not somebody from anywhere in the area. In fact, she says most of the people who come knocking on her door are from Japan.
Does she live there full time? No.
She does live there full time. She's selling the house now. Part of her husband died a few years ago, and she's got 2 sons. They raised 2 sons there. One who's off in college, one who's going soon. So you know, it's just it's a lot of space now. And so it's up for sale.
All right, you mentioned it's for sale. How much?
So right now in the market, it's about $1.3 million.
It doesn't seem like a lot for
Emily,
Gloucester.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's right by the water.
Yeah, how close to the water is it?
It's steps. And in fact, back in Eliot's day, there's beautiful like trees all around it now. But those have grown over the years. When he was there were no trees, and you could see the water around 3/4 of the house.
Down. No, I mean.
Well, let me know if you want to buy it, Emily. We can split it 90-10, 95-5.
You mean you're paying the 90? All right,
Yeah,
Edgar B. Hurwitz. Thank you so much.